let's go through some of this. You're a little more well versed in this, so bring us through the topics one by one, and then we can break them down.
All right, so let's just go with the big ones, the quarterbacks. We'll just start with the quarterbacks first. So you have obviously Aaron Rodgers going back to Green Bay. That obviously makes them a contender right away. But then what happens? Russell Wilson gets traded. So how does that affect now DK Metcalf, Lockett? How does it affect Jerry Jeudy, Sutton? So, will you trade away DK Metcalf and Lockett now because they still don't have a quarterback? Would you do that?
No. I think because they got the number 9 pick, right?
Yes.
So you either go Pickett, Malik Willis, or actually, honestly, Matt Corral.
Yeah. No, I mean, and I think one of those three are definitely going to happen. I think one of those three are definitely going to happen. And then you have going over now Russell Wilson. What does that do for Jerry Jeudy, Javonte Williams, Sutton, Fitzpatrick?
Who's Fitzpatrick?
Oh, no, Tim Patrick. Sorry.
Oh, Tim Patrick. And who's their tight end now? The Albagonco.
Yes. Yep.
Let me see if I can get his name. Okay, so he bumps up to the number 1 tight end spot.
Tight end. Yep. And he was decent last season.
Yeah. Yeah, he was. Okay. Well, I mean, to answer your question, I think Judy's stock goes up dramatically. Dramatically.
You think Judy's going to be the one that benefits the most from this?
Yes.
Yeah. I tend to agree.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I think Javonte Williams actually might get hurt a little bit, just a little, just with Russell's ability to run a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like he might take a few touchdowns away from him.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he'll also get more receptions, if that's even possible.
Mm-hmm.
With having Russell Wilson. But I think you're right. I think Jeudy is going to be the big one that's going to.
And I don't think Javonte gets hurt that much because Russell Wilson, it's not like he's a Kyler Murray or
no. I'm not saying a lot. I'm just saying just a little bit. I mean, like, a few yards here and there, maybe a touchdown here and there, all of a sudden they're at the 1 yard line and or even at the 2 or 3 yard line. Yeah. You have Teddy Bridgewater or Drew Lock. You're going to hand it off.
True.
But with Russell Wilson, you could do a play fake and he could scramble and get it in. That's all. It's just another, they're interested in winning the games. We're just looking at it from a fantasy standpoint.
That's all you're trying to say.
Yeah.
If you just really stop and think about it.
Exactly.
Okay. So, but here's something they were talking about in one of our leagues is that with Green Bay, going back to Green Bay, Devontae Rodgers, I mean, right, it might as well be.
It might as well be, yes.
Devontae Adams doesn't want to get franchised.
No. Well, he doesn't want to play for the franchise tag. He wants big money.
Yeah. Okay, so that's kind of like the big one.
So now you have Brady coming out of retirement, which, I mean, 40 days, that was it. I love the what's lasted longer than Brady's retirement things going around now.
But did he even really officially announce his retirement ever?
He did. He posted it on Instagram. He was walking away. He was going off into the sunset and everything. And now he's like, oh, I have to deal with PTA meetings and shopping at Target or not Target. I know they shop at Target, but Whole Foods. I got to deal with this kind of stuff. Yeah, no, I'm going back. I'd rather deal with linebackers.
Well, let's stay on that topic for a second because Katrina was just asking me about what I thought about it. And I'm saying, well, if you look at it from Brady's standpoint, he's at the peak of health. And I've been doing some reading on like inflammation of the brain and inflammation in the body and how much havoc that wreaks in the body. Yeah. And he is specifically like fine-tuned his diet so that he's eliminated inflammatory foods, like even to the point of like tomatoes can cause inflammation. Yeah. And he's worked on he's all about elongating your muscles and not bulking up. So just take him and the health that he's in, the number, his age really it's just a number. Like he's in better condition than a lot of guys in their 20s in the league. Yeah. Okay. Now you expand that out and you look at the landscape of the NFL, specifically the NFC. There are a lot of bad coaches. Yeah. Like if you took Brady and turned him into a head coach, he'd be better than 90% of the head coaches.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I can see that.
Or to be fair, offensive coordinators.
Yeah. Well, definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
I would definitely say, yeah. I would definitely say 90% of offensive coordinators.
And then the teams that have a good coach might not be a good team. So right. It's really the AFC that has a lot of the up and coming teams like Cincinnati, the Chargers. You still got Kansas City, the Bills. And he's only going to face some of these teams in the Super Bowl.
Right. Yeah. Because he probably won't face them during the season.
So you're looking at the landscape and you're saying there's not a lot of good teams and there's not a lot of great coaches. And I'm in the peak of my health still. Yeah. Why would he stop?
Yeah. You know, and it was kind of like with Aaron Rodgers too. It's like, you know, when Rodgers came back, it was, you know, and then what Wilson got traded, you know, he's looking at it going like, all right, I have to deal with Kyle Murray, Dak Prescott, and the guy from the Rams. Can't think of his name now.
Oh, Stafford.
It's like, really? Does any of those really scare you if you're Aaron Rodgers and his team? Now all of a sudden Brady's back though, and it's like, okay, now that does change things because they still have Godwin, they still have Evans. You know, I mean, they might lose a couple of defensive guys, but now all of a sudden it's like, okay, yeah, Stafford maybe was lightning in a bottle. Cowboys are giving away half their team. I mean, they traded away Amari. Cedric Wilson signed with Miami. I mean, they brought back Michael Gallup. Okay, that's good, but they kept Schultz.
And really, how good of a coach is the dude in Dallas?
Right. So it's like you're sitting there, and it's like, and to go back to your point, like Brady's like, why wouldn't I come back again? Like, okay, there's one guy that I have to deal with really now,
which is Rodgers.
Kyle Murray's going to miss like 4 or 5 games. They'll probably be out of the playoffs. Stafford, okay, he has a really good defense and he has a pretty good offense, but he is Matthew Stafford. So, you know, was it just, okay, this is just the 1 year thing, and he'll go back to like Detroit Matthew Stafford, even though in Detroit he was decent. He just didn't have a good defense behind him.
I don't think that it was lightning in a bottle. I think Matthew Stafford is a good quality quarterback.
So Is he Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady? Or is he more
No,
is he
but
more Eli Manning?
no, I think he's better than Eli Manning.
Okay. All right.
I think he's
So
got
more
a
like a
lot of-
Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I would say that he's more of he is in the Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson tier,
Yeah.
Josh Allen. I mean, I can't think of a lot of guys that are better than him. There's probably, 6 guys maybe total in
Right.
the NFL.
Yeah.
that
And
are
not
better.
guys that we would rather have, just guys who are actually better.
But I mean, when you talk about his heart, so in his commitment, for someone to stick in Detroit that long
True.
and put in, when I read the article about him and his wife talking about the preparation he would put into games and how much it would kill him when they would lose in Detroit. Like, I don't understand how anyone can stay in Detroit. Like, Detroit seems like maybe the worst organization in the NFL.
Maybe. Yeah.
I mean, Jacksonville.
Yeah. I was going to say but I mean, Detroit has been, numerous seasons of no wins, like
It's
16-0, 17-0. I mean, like one season was insane. I think they've done it like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
So it's like,
and I've been playing fantasy football since 2003. They've been like that since then, at least. And then when I was into football as a kid, the Lions were always terrible.
Right. And you never understood why they played on Thanksgiving.
No, it's like why? I don't understand. I still don't understand it.
Yeah. So we'll stick with the NFC and we'll go with the other trade that happened. Carson Wentz to the Commanders.
Okay. So lay it on me. What do you give me the nuts and bolts of the Commanders?
The Commanders.
Carson Wentz.
Yeah. It is an upgrade, obviously. Then what's his name there? Can't even think who the quarterback was now.
Heineke.
Like
and
Heineke,
Fitzpatrick.
Yeah. Right. So he is an upgrade, but I mean, he's not that much of an upgrade. There's a reason why he's bounced around 2 or 3 teams, and it's like, okay, so all right, so Antonio Gibson, he might get a little bit of a bump, but is that because of Wentz, or is that because McKissick's not there anymore? Like McCallan,
Who are you referring to?
the wide receiver there.
McLaurin.
So McLaurin, he'll get a bump. If Curtis Samuel can actually play a snap, I mean, maybe with those 3, Carson Wentz does decent.
And again, let me ask you about their head coach. Who's the head coach there? Is he a clown?
I don't think so. I don't remember his name, but you think about, they almost eliminated Brady in that playoff game. If they had anything better than Tyler Heineke or whatever his name is at quarterback, they probably would have won that game.
Oh, it's Ron Rivera. So he's pretty decent.
Yeah. So it's like, so I think last year just, they lost Young, the defense just wasn't the same, and Heineke turned into Heineke. They had a lot of other issues going on. So I don't think, I think it's a little bit of a bump, but I think I think you could almost pick up. In our league, when you can start 3 quarterbacks, that's a little bit different. If you have a regular league of just a 2 guy, maybe he's on the waiver, but he's on your bench just in case some other guy gets injured.
If you're in a 1 quarterback league, even with 12 teams, he's still in waivers.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. A lot of them do 2 quarterbacks nowadays, or at least with a flex with a quarterback.
Yeah. With 2 quarterbacks, he's on a roster.
Yeah. Just as a backup though. I don't think you're starting him any game.
No. let me ask you a side point on that. The Indianapolis side of that. Does Jonathan Taylor's stock take a hit?
I guess it depends on who they get now. And if anything, let's just say now those guys go with the rookie, just like Seattle, because they have not signed anything yet that I've seen. The latest one was Mitch Trubisky and Teddy Bridgewater were the two latest that we've seen signed today. So they have not gone after and addressed it. So let's just say they do get a rookie, or maybe they get, maybe all of a sudden they bring in Deshaun Watson. If they bring in Deshaun Watson, it's all different. But like if they're just going after one of the quarterbacks that are out there, I think Taylor goes up, because he's just going to hand the ball off. They've got one of the best offensive line in the league. Mm-hmm. It's like just hand the ball off and let them go.
Because Indy does not have a first round pick.
Right.
Well, what did they get in the trade? Like 2 second rounders or something?
I think it was like a 5th and a 6th.
All right, let's see here.
No, I forget. I think it was a 3rd. I don't even think it was a 2nd. Because they gave, I know that's kind of sad. You think you gave up your first round pick to get Carson Wentz, and then you traded him away and you didn't even get back a first round pick.
Well, right.
It's kind of, you just really wanted to unload him. You wanted to unload him. And so it's, when you think about it that way, I wouldn't even be surprised if the Commanders still draft a quarterback.
Okay, so here's what happened. The deal involves a swap of second round picks. The Colts moved from 47th overall to the 42nd. They move up.
Yeah, so it wasn't even like they got a second round. They had a swap second round. So they still had to give up a second round.
And then they get a 22 third round pick and a 23 third round pick. That elevates to a second rounder if Wentz is on the field for 70% of the snaps.
Yeah, it's a third rounder. I mean, they really wanted him to take the money. That's what they were trying to do. They were trying to dump salary. Yeah. It's kind of like our trades in our NBA fantasy. A lot of times it's just trading to dump salary.
Okay. So that one, what else do we have after that?
So Mitch Trubisky now. Mitch Trubisky. He is going to Pittsburgh. His stock, I think, as a starting quarterback is definitely going to rise. Obviously. You go from a backup, and, he was drafted by Chicago. Nagy just kind of blew the poor kid up, and he's gone to Buffalo, learned a lot. And I want him to have a good comeback. And I think Pittsburgh being a solid organization. I mean, now he's got Deontay Johnson, he's got Chase Claypool, he's got Washington,
Freiermuth, and Najee.
I mean, like, he doesn't have to be the guy. Ben Roethlisberger could throw it past 5 yards almost, and he still made it into the playoffs because he didn't turn the ball over. If Mitch Trubisky could just be this year's Joe Flacco, just don't turn the ball over, let our defense do it, give it to our playmakers and let them handle it, we're going to go into the playoffs.
The thing too is that at 20th overall, Pittsburgh could now draft an offensive lineman.
Right. That they really need.
Desperately.
Yeah.
They don't even need a wide receiver. Like they've got a wide receiver, they've multiple, they've got a tight end, they've got their running back. So now they can either focus on their defense or on the offensive line. And
I mean, you don't have to look at any of those positions, maybe not even in this draft, or if you're going to look in this draft, like 4th, 5th round, for some backup or something like that. But you can spend your first 2 or 3 rounds on filling the needs that you actually have.
Yeah.
And getting your team that much better. And
So
so
that's a cool
nice
one. So if you've got Trubisky on your team,
which I don't know how many guys actually did.
yeah. Well, in Dynasty with a two
Right.
quarterback league, you might.
Right. You know, yeah, you're very excited right now.
I am because I have no quarterbacks on my team. So now I have at least one.
Well, there you go. See, look at that.
Yeah.
He did that all for you.
And you know what's heartening as well is when he did get back. So 2 years ago, he played at the beginning of the year, got benched, and then he came back at the end of the year, and he put up good fantasy numbers. He generated a good, decent fantasy point total each week, and so I think I'm excited. I'm excited to see him with a more complete team, a better coach around him.
I mean, so much better than Nagy. You know, it's like. So then let's move on to wide receivers. Because, I mean, you have still Deshaun Watson. We don't know what's going on with him. Teddy Bridgewater is just going to be a backup in Miami, which the way Tua has played, Bridgewater is probably going to get a start. Tua is probably going to be benched or injured.
Yep.
But Bridgewater signed a 1-year deal with them.
Okay.
So I guess the next big one, Chase Edmonds, he went to Miami.
That doesn't excite me. That excites me if I'm a James Conner owner.
Yep.
That does not excite me if I own Edmonds or if I own any of the Miami backfield.
Yeah, which we probably don't. Because they don't have a backfield hardly.
Yeah.
I mean, Brown, no. I think there is one guy, but I can't even think of his name. He wasn't even that.
Myles Gaskin.
Yeah, it wasn't even that impressive.
No. So I'm not feeling real great about that one.
Right. So let's go to the wide receivers. The biggest one, obviously, I think a lot of people were shocked by Amari Cooper being traded.
Okay.
To the Browns.
Do you happen to know off the top of your head what Dallas got back for that?
5th and a 6th round pick. I think maybe even a 4th. But that was it. It was nothing major.
Oof.
Exactly.
Ugh.
Yeah, and that's why there are people, when you look at it, again, it was the whole thing of just dumping his salary.
Okay.
Dallas now saved, I think, $12 million or something like that. And is that really the best way to go? They must not like him.
Well, I was reading
up on
him. I was reading that him not getting vaccinated was.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that, a couple of comments about his work ethic and things like that. And so, he was the 2nd overall pick. All right. I was trying to figure out where Trubisky was actually drafted. He was the number 2 overall pick. I'm like, okay.
2017.
That was so then you had Amari Cooper. Now, I think you go to the Browns. Odell Beckham already got left. You saw what they could do. Cooper, I mean, I think his stock now plummets.
Yep, I agree.
The guy now to get is Jarvis Landry because they released him.
Yeah, but has he signed with anyone?
Not yet.
So,
I mean, that's the scary thing is you don't know. But I mean, hey, at least now he's not in Cleveland anymore.
Okay, what do you think about CeeDee Lamb now? Is it time for him to show that he can stay healthy and put up that monster season that everyone's waiting for?
Yeah. I mean, he has now, there's nothing that should hold him back from doing that. It's kind of like, here's your time. Okay. We got rid of bad person in the locker room or whatever, or the rotten apple. And now it's your turn to be the alpha. You want to get paid like the alpha? Now it's time for to be the alpha. Go and do it. And with Cedric Wilson now gone too, you only have Gallup and CD Lamb really, and a couple of other no-name guys.
What about Schultz? Is he still around?
Yeah, they franchise tagged him.
All right.
So, I mean, I'm talking about wide receivers. Like, so
yeah.
Schultz, they franchise tagged,
Yep.
which, I mean, you know, that's going to help. But it's like, you know, now it's going to be all on CDs. You know, and I mean, and now that Amari Cooper's not there, is he going to be able to produce? That's going to be the thing. Or is he going to be a Juju Schuster? You know, Antonio Brown leaves and all of a sudden he can't produce.
Right. Well, I mean, let's look at
and then of course you had Godwin from Tampa Bay. He got the franchise tag. And probably I wouldn't be surprised if he was a little upset over that, because that's the second year in a row that he's gotten the franchise tag. And then Brady came back. So that probably made it a little bit easier to handle. He peed and pooped. So that's a good thing.
And what about you?
Just peed.
I feel you.
You know? So, yeah. So that's, I think that's a difference with Godwin going, signing his tender now. Whereas like we were talking about Devontae Adams, he doesn't want to play for that franchise tag.
Yeah.
He's mad.
He's
He's not happy about that. Now, Christian Kirk, he is now going to the Jaguars.
Okay.
So
I don't know how I think about that.
Yeah. It's I'd almost call it a lateral move. You know, because I mean, he was second, third fiddle in Arizona. I think he turns into the number one in Jacksonville.
Oh, over
Chenault?
Over Chenault.
Yeah.
Okay. So Chenault's just a big disappointment so far.
So far.
Okay. So
I mean, Agnew was outperforming him last season. He's like who's a punt returner. Mike Williams, he went back to the Chargers. So it depends on how you feel about him. Some people are high on him. Some people are.
I think a big thing is going to be how Lawrence develops this year. But who knows? Maybe
Mike
they
Williams
have
or
great
for Christian Kirk.
For Kirk. I mean, maybe they
okay.
have great chemistry.
Maybe. I mean, I guess it depends how quickly he can get in there and learn the playbook. They signed a couple of other offensive linemen and upgraded that. So he should have between Etienne, Kirk, Chenault. I think the kid from New York, the Giants tight end, I think he's going to end up down there as well. Ingram. Is it Ingram, the tight end Giants? I think they released him.
Oh, Evan Ingram. Yes.
Evan Ingram. Yeah. So I think he's going to end up down there as well. So I think they're going to have and I think Doug Peterson is a half decent coach. At least when it comes to putting together good quarterbacks.
Okay.
But
all right. So that those trades, they don't move me too much.
Yeah. I mean, I think if anything, the only thing that it does is that maybe it bumps up Lawrence a little bit.
Okay. All right.
Because
what else?
Now you have a couple more weapons and stuff. And that's really, I mean, you have Mike Williams. He re-signed with the Chargers. So depending on how you feel about him, I mean, he's still there. He put up decent numbers last season. I know some people are up and down on him.
Yeah, I'm looking right now to see if there's any defensive moves that were made, defensive trades.
Oh, yeah.
Anything of note that you would want to touch on?
Well, Khalil Mack, he's now with the Chargers.
With Bosa on the other side.
With Bosa on the other side. And J.C. Jackson from the Patriots. He's also on the Chargers.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think the Chargers, in terms of defense, which, I mean, if you look at their division, I mean, now you have Russell Wilson and Patrick Mahomes that you're going to have to contend with twice a year. And even if not Carr, who's the Raiders quarterback?
Yeah, Carr.
It is Carr. Okay. He's not the greatest, but he's a decent quarterback. So now you're facing him. Why, he said decent.
What do you think of Josh McDaniel taking that division on with that team?
If he's not careful, he's going to be fired again after a season.
That's crazy, dude. I know.
I think the last time he got fired actually had to do more with the little cheating scandal there, but that was more than anything else. They didn't want to deal with that. But yeah, so that was the big thing. The Atlanta linebacker there, what's his name? He led the league in tackles.
I'm sorry. Which team?
The Atlanta linebacker.
Oh, yeah, I gotta look at his name. I know.
Foyosedad. Olokun. He is no longer on the Atlanta Falcons. He is now a Jacksonville Jaguar.
Interesting.
Yep.
Wow.
So now a lot of people think that because of the offensive line that they took care of, I think they re-signed a guy that they had as a free agent, and they re-signed a free agent from San Francisco. Maybe I can't forget if that was the Jets or if that was them, but they improved. So now they think Aiden Hutchinson is now in play for the first pick overall. No longer Neal, the offensive tackle, but Aiden Hutchinson now will probably end up going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They did enough on their offensive line between free agents and keeping guys in house. Which, side note, Aiden Hutchinson is also a TB12 guy.
Interesting.
He signed up to be in the TB12 program. So they're getting him right out of college. But hey, you figure, if this guy's playing when he's 45, I might as well try it.
Right.
And then a couple of tight end news. There's nothing really major with that. You had Njoku staying with the Browns, Schultz staying with the Cowboys, and Gesicki staying with.
Which are significant because that does speak to consistency from them.
Yeah.
If you have them.
Well, yeah, and they were franchise tagged, so we'll see if they like the tagging or if it's like going to be like Devontae Adams, like I want out of it. But I think if you look at what they've been doing, and obviously I haven't seen any updates yet. I'm sure it's probably calmed down the frenzy of it all, but your dynasty team has definitely changed.
Yeah.
It's like your guy is doing decent. Obviously it's like, your wide receiver 2, your wide receiver 3 now is all of a sudden either getting a bump up or getting pushed down. I guess when in terms of Jerry Jeudy, maybe borderline wide receiver 1. So now he's definitely a solid wide receiver 1 right now.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how they play. But now all of a sudden maybe Lawrence turns into a quarterback one-ish, maybe two. Mitch Trubisky definitely now is what, quarterback two at least.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
very interesting. Also, I was just looking, and Cedric Wilson is now on Miami.
yes.
Okay, so that's interesting. It's been really a great off season for activity.
Yeah. But the sad thing is like if you look at a lot of the years, the first day or two of free agency, there's a lot of money being spent, but most of those teams are not going to the playoffs.
It's true.
I mean, if you look at it, it's like what, Patriots haven't done anything. Green Bay, I mean, they took care of Rodgers and they took care of their in-house guys, but they haven't signed anybody. The Rams haven't signed anybody. Kansas City, they took care of their one franchise tag guy. It's like the consistent teams. I mean, the Steelers, they had their quarterback retire. I think that's the only reason why they signed him to Trubisky, because it's like, but if you look at these teams that are usually pretty successful year in and year out, they're not the ones making the big splash day one, day two of free agency. They're more day 4, day 5, draft, those kind of teams, which says a lot about teams like we were talking about earlier, the Lions and Jacksonville, like that completely miss year after year on draft picks and free agents.
Well, I mean, yeah. And that brings up a great point, because as you're building your dynasty team, it all starts with your drafting. You've got to draft well.
Right.
Because that sets the foundation. Like if you inherit a really awful team, let's say you join a league, and you've got the worst team in the league, but you've got draft picks. Let's just say you get 3 first-round draft picks. If you can nail all 3 of those picks, you could be in it the next year
easily.
So like, let's just take last year. I'm going off on a little tangent here, but I think it's a nice application of what we're talking about. Let's say you had the worst team in the league last year. You're in a 2 quarterback league. You got an IDP, and in the first round, you take Jamar Chase, you take Micah Parsons, and you take Najee Harris,
which you could have done very easily.
And then in the second round, you're probably going to be able to get a quarterback like a Mac Jones, because he was going at the end of the first round in rookie drafts.
Right.
So there might have been a chance that you get him at the turn, into the second round. But even if you don't, you may have gotten. Here, let me take a look here. I mean, this is just from last year. You could have gotten
as rookie.
Okay. Yeah. So you could have got someone like you could have got Waddle in the second round.
Yep.
These are the guys that went in the second round of a 12-team, 2-quarterback IDP league from last year. Jalen Waddle went 2-2. Elijah Moore went 2-4. Nick Bolton, linebacker, went 2-8.
Oh, wow.
Rashad Bateman went 2-12.
Okay.
Then you go to the third round. Defensive end Kwity Paye went 3-1. Kadarius Toney went 3-3. Amon-Ra St. Brown went 3-4. Ramondre Stevenson went 3-5. Nico Collins went 3-7. Jalen Phillips, defensive end for Miami, went 3-11. Chuba Hubbard went 3-12. Pat Freiermuth went 4-1. Amari Rodgers, he went 4-1.
Oh, wow.
Kenneth Gainwell went 4-4.
Okay. Yep. That's still a little high, I think.
You think so?
I mean, I'm not high, too
early,
too late. I expected him. I expected him to be higher, I guess. I guess high in the other sense, like high rounds, I guess.
I got you. And then check this out, EFO. Elijah Mitchell went 5'11".
Isn't that how tall he is?
5'11", 220.
Oh, there you go. No, that's
And think about
he's going to be probably the starting running back this season.
So let's take the converse of that, and let's say you had the three first round picks. These are the guys that went in the first round in that league. Trey Lance went 1-1.
Right.
Trevor Lawrence.
Trey Lance. Okay. All of a sudden, I thought you meant Trevor Lawrence. I was going to say, all right, that made sense. But Trey Lance 1-1. All right.
Trevor Lawrence went 1-2.
Okay.
Najee went 1-3. Zach Wilson went 1-4. Justin Fields went 1-5. Jamar Chase went 1-6. Kyle Pitts 1-7. Javonte Williams 1-8. Travis Etienne 1-9. Mac Jones 1-10. Devontae Smith 1-11. Micah Parsons 1-12.
Oh wow, Parsons already went all the way to the end.
And that dude's going to be a monster for, if he can stay healthy, he's going to be a monster for a decade.
Yeah, easily.
But
he's still in my number 6. He's still in my number 6 linebacker though.
But look at the misses. And I'm going to call these misses: Devontae Smith, Travis Etienne, Kyle Pitts, Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
At this point, Trey Lance.
Yep.
And you could even throw Justin Fields in there.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, even though you've got 3 first-round picks, you still have to draft very well and smart.
Yes.
But if you do, I mean, you get Najee, you get Jamar, and you get Micah Parsons in the first round. And then in the second round, you get Waddle. Come on now.
I mean, you're going to be in it. You're going to be in it unless your quarterbacks are horrible too. Like, I mean, obviously if you have a horrible team, I mean, you're just going to, but even then it's like, if you hit on those 4 guys, let's just say, you're going to at least be climbing for a playoff spot, if not in the bottom tier playoff spots. Might not win the whole thing, but you'll definitely be in the hunt.
And I'll tell you this too, there's always going to be at least one team in your league who will gladly trade their first round picks. In a dynasty league, first round picks are really very valuable. However,
like, really? So how many do you know?
What are you taking issue with here?
You saying that first round picks are very valuable.
They are.
Okay.
By and large, by a lot of the teams, they are. Yeah. I'm starting to value them more. Let's put it that way.
Okay. All right.
I've got 2. I'm the only team in that league that has 2 this year. 2 first rounders.
Well, that makes up for the one you have none in.
Well, I have no picks in that league.
Well, yeah, I know. That's why I don't even.
But I can guarantee you this, my friend. In that league that I have no picks,
you can get a few.
I will be getting picks.
Yes.
Okay. Because you're going to have inexperienced teams that are going to say, oh, there's nobody worth drafting. And I can trade.
Point.
Yeah. And I will trade some of my bench players for that.
If you can actually reach out to them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, true. I think one guy's already getting replaced. I've already decided that.
Oh, okay. Just because he beat you doesn't mean you have to replace him.
I'm going to replace Nathaniel.
Yeah.
No, that was not the guy I was thinking of.
I know. I'm just.
But now, see, you got me all flustered.
Sorry, you were talking about how important first round picks are in Dynasty.
Okay. But second round picks can be just as valuable. And we just illustrated that because there are misses in the first round.
Yes.
And so, like, I have 6 second round picks in that league,
which is just insane.
And four of them are right in a row.
That is even more insane.
2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4. All mine.
I thought I was doing good with my 4. You have 6.
And dude, I could have had 3 first rounders because there was a team early in last year's season that was trying to trade me a first. He was trying to trade. He wanted a first for Carson Wentz and Julio Jones, and I couldn't pull the trigger on it. But mind you, this was way at the beginning of the season,
which is tough. That is the tough time because you don't know what your guys are going to be like.
And at the time, my quarterbacks were Roethlisberger, Wentz, Cam Newton, Daniel Jones, and Sam Darnold.
Yeah, that's tough to pull that trigger.
It was. But anyway, if you can get first or second round picks and you can draft really smart and intuitively. So like then you'll be in it. You can build your team very quickly. And the way I'm looking at this draft coming up, let me go back here. Let me take a look at this. I'm having some real crisis issue here because I've got the 1-2 and then I've got the 1-10. And then I've got the 2-1 through 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I have 2, 9, and 10.
Oh, so I get to pick right before you get 4 picks in a row?
You do.
Nice.
Unless you trade that to me, and then I'll.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's going to happen. But here's what I'm looking
Jacobs
at.
For 2 of your first round, second round picks.
The quarterback draft class is not that strong. So I'm wondering if a couple defensive ends go in the first round this year.
At least 3 or 4 that I know of are going to be going.
No, I'm talking in our rookie draft.
At least 2 in our rookie draft.
You think so?
I think Thibodeau, at least 2. No, I think Hutchinson and I think Walker.
Okay.
I think Thibodeau, he went from being the number 2 guy to he's fallen down to 5 or 6 in the draft and a lot of people's draft boards. Walker is actually jumping up over him. I'm trying to prove me wrong.
I'm just looking here.
I know.
Yeah, this is not. So let's see. Walker. So Trayvon Walker.
Yeah.
Okay. What about Ojabo?
I love that kid. Like, I love him completely. He's only played one college season ball of football. And you think about it, like, what does he rank? Like the fifth or sixth one?
Well, I mean, I'm looking at an older mock board, so let me go to something more.
But I mean, I think he's like ranked like fifth or sixth. And a lot of people are saying, well, Hutchinson was on the other side, so that's why he was doing so good. Okay, who was on the other guy for Trayvon Thibodeau? How come that guy isn't doing that good? Or who's on the other guy for Walker? It's like, no, this guy's just a beast.
Mm-hmm.
The other reason why I like him, a team like the Patriots would utilize him as a outside linebacker / defensive end.
Yeah, so here's how they have it ranked on CBS Sports. They have for edge rushers. They've got Thibodeau, Hutchinson, Karlaftis, Jermaine Johnson, Enigber, and then Ohabo.
Yeah.
So he's sixth.
Yeah, sixth. But I mean, it's like when you look at who they actually think they're going to get drafted, I think Walker and Hutchinson are going to go before Thibodeau. I think I have Thibodeau going in the fifth pick to the Jets, I think, or something like that. But I love Ohabo. I just think that he's just so raw, his raw talent.
Mm-hmm. So
just depends on where he lands.
Yeah, so it's interesting because you're at the end of the first round. You have a pretty solid team. Let's just say, because you've got about 3 running backs that are first in a rookie draft or first round material, maybe 2. It's debatable,
right? Yeah.
You've got maybe. In a 2 quarterback league, you might have 3 quarterbacks, maybe 4. Depends on how people rank, like Sam Howell.
Yeah, Ritter.
He had a good combine.
Yeah.
Do you go? And then you've got a good crop of wide receivers. I mean, you've probably got 7.
Fantastic. Crop of wide receivers. I think it's going to hurt some of those guys. Because it's like, why should a team spend first round capital on a guy that they can get in the second round?
Are you talking NFL or are you talking fantasy drafts?
NFL. I mean, in fantasy, I mean, you're going to take the guy. You're going to take the guy in the first round, almost any of those wide receivers, because they're going to be utilized. But I think it's going to just hurt them in the real draft. Because it's like, okay, my team needs a wide receiver, but they also need an edge rusher. I'd rather take the edge rusher that there's only like 5 or 6 of them instead of a wide receiver that there's like 50 of them. Because they were all really decent. So but in the rookie draft, though, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this year's rookie draft, if 1 through 5 are not wide receivers.
Even in a 2 quarterback league.
Right. Because I mean, I guess it depends on what Indianapolis does. If Indianapolis drafts a quarterback, obviously he's going to go higher than a wide receiver. If Seattle drafts a quarterback, he'll go higher than a wide receiver. But if both of those teams don't draft.
See, I kind of disagree with the Indy thing because they don't have a first round pick. So if they do draft a quarterback, it's going to be in the second round.
Right, which they'll probably get Ritter.
So, I mean, if you're drafting, if you're in your rookie draft and you're at 1-6, are you going to take Ritter?
It just depends on what your needs are. I mean, if you have,
I don't know,
if you have Burrow and, Burrow, Mahomes, and Trey Lance, yeah, probably not. But if you have Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz, and Sam Darnold, yeah, I would take Ritter.
It's so crazy because I don't know what to do because I need quarterbacks and I'm at 1-2, but I don't feel like there's any quarterback that merits a 1-2. But it's like I have the 1-10, but what if there's a quarterback run? And let's say I took a wide receiver with my first round pick, and there's a quarterback run, and now I'm looking at like a Ritter. I don't feel good about that.
Even if he's a starter?
I feel better. Honestly, I feel better about Pickett or Corral at 1-2. Because I think the guy who has the number one pick is going to take Malik Willis.
Yeah. I mean, he probably will be a starter. So, yeah.
I actually feel better about a Corral. Like if Corral went to Seattle or if Pickett went to
So you'd either have Saints, Carolina, and Seattle. Those would be the three teams you're kind of picking.
I mean, I'd feel the best if he was in Seattle. Seattle's the best. And then New Orleans and Carolina is like, ugh.
Yeah.
I don't like either.
Because Indianapolis not having a first round pick. Now that could mean because so many teams went out and got either traded for a guy or signed a free agent. It could mean that Corral is all of a sudden a second round guy, and all of a sudden now he might go to Indianapolis.
I'd feel good about that. But
you
I mean,
see what I'm saying? Like,
but Indy still doesn't have a lot of weapons on the offense. I mean, who do they have?
Let's see. They have Jonathan Taylor and
T.Y. Hilton.
No, T.Y. Hilton's a free agent.
Where's Galloway?
No, what's his name there? The wide receiver there. I can't think of who the wide receiver is on. Why can't I think of who the wide receiver is? And he's actually a really good wide receiver.
I'll pull it up here. Paris Campbell?
No, I think.
Well, Michael Pittman.
Yeah.
Doesn't take long to forget the names, does it?
I know, seriously. It's like, well, you got so much going on. It's like,
yeah,
so, I mean,
all right, okay. I can live with that. And then they've got,
and who knows, they might get Allen Robinson or Jarvis Landry or something like that to add to that.
It's a good point
as well.
Good point. But the offensive line is great, so that gives you a lot of confidence. Good, solid running game. So I'd feel best about him in Indy, any quarterback in Indy or Seattle.
Right. Okay. So Seattle will probably, you figure, my guess is there's going to be two teams that actually will need a quarterback. I think it's going to be Seattle and either the Saints or Carolina, because I think one of them is going to get Deshaun Watson.
I mean, here's the other thing. Now that Trubisky signed with the Steelers, you thought that maybe he was going to go to the Giants and compete with Jones. Now I think, what if the Giants, they got a 5 and a 7 overall. I could see Malik Willis going there.
I could see that, but I think they have way too many more needs to fill. Where I think if you're not gonna take Malik Willis in the first round that high if he's not gonna start.
Dude, here's
I
the
know
crazy. Oh, go
Trey
ahead.
Lance, they did that with Trey Lance, but that's not usually the case.
Okay. Well, so here's the thing. Let's say the Giants don't take a quarterback.
Right.
The only real viable teams to take that would take a quarterback, you're looking at Carolina in the first round, Seattle in the first round,
Saints,
and the Saints. And then
maybe Houston.
Right. And maybe Detroit
With the 32nd pick, not the second, but the 32nd.
But other than that,
that's what I'm saying. Matt Corral could end up in the second round going to Indy very easily.
Okay.
Because Deshaun Watson is going to go to one of those teams. Okay. So now it goes down to 4. Then you're going to have, my guess is Houston is going to go with Mills for next season.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to address other issues. So now you have 3. And out of those 3 teams, it's like,
Saints. Here's the thing too, EFO
and Seattle are the only 2 teams that are actually, in my mind, worth going to.
Detroit's got the 34th pick too.
Yeah.
They've got to take a quarterback. With
probably. And then it's like, but then again, like it's going to be him against Goff, and the second Goff stinks, they're going to put him in. So, but again, I still don't think there's going to be, if there's 3 quarterbacks taken in the first round, I'd be kind of shocked.
In the NFL.
Yeah.
You
know, I mean, like that would be the maximum. And I just don't see, like,
no, I don't see it.
Like Seattle, you know, Seattle and Carolina and the Saints, I think, are the 3 biggest contenders for a quarterback. And one of them is going to get Deshaun Watson.
Because I don't even think that Houston's going to take it with the
3rd pick. No,
3rd pick. I don't think so because they've got the 37th pick. And I mean, if you think Corral is going to go with the 42nd overall to Indy, then that means
I'm just saying, like, he could. Yeah.
No, but just follow my reasoning. If you think he's still going to be available there, then he's going to be available at 34.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, at 34, if I'm Detroit, I'm saying, no, I'm going to take a defensive player. Oh, I'm sorry, Houston. Houston's at 37, not 34. So if I'm Houston, I'm saying I got Davis Mills. I'm not going to take a quarterback with the 3rd overall pick. I'm going to take my chances. And if we still want a quarterback, I think there's going to be something worth taking. Kenny Pickett.
He could fall that far.
Ritter.
Yep.
Sam Howell.
If Malik Willis is the only quarterback taking in the first round, I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Probably by the Saints. Because even Seattle's got the 40th and the 41st.
Yeah. So they can wait. And there's still, so you figure there's still Deshaun Watson that needs to fall.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Garoppolo. Because the 49ers are not going to keep Jimmy Garoppolo. The only thing that bad about Garoppolo is that he has that surgery and he can't throw until like almost the beginning of preseason. So that's what limits him being traded. So there's really only 2 teams that are going to need a quarterback.
Unless somebody surprises, like maybe the Jets surprised. No, the Jets wouldn't do that though.
They took number 2 over last year. I mean, the Giants are definitely a candidate for surprising.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I could see the Pittsburgh, if Pickett was available, possibly. But the problem, if you take any of these guys and you already have a starting quarterback, the second that starting quarterback has one or two bad games, they're going to call for the backup. Because nothing is sexier in the NFL than the backup quarterback. Unless it's like Brian Hoyer or something, and you know what you get. But it's like the backup quarterback is always like, and if he's a rookie or a second year guy, I mean, San Francisco got very fortunate this past season because Garoppolo did so well. And even then they were calling for Trey Lance. And I think when Trey Lance went out there and they saw what he could do, they were kind of like, oh, okay, we'll stick with Garoppolo a little bit. He does need some work. But
yeah, I think Malik Willis goes to Carolina at 6.
If they don't trade for Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Which if Carolina or the Saints trade for Deshaun Watson, then I think you see Houston take a quarterback, because then they'll have like 2 or 3 first-round picks.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We went on a little tangent there, but that is the free agent climate as broken down by the one and only EFO and myself.
Yeah.
But you're the one and only. I'm just me.
You're my one and only.
Oh. So
anyway.
let's talk turkey here. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and subscribe here. Leave a comment. Tell us how wrong we were in every single assessment that we made over the last hour. And we will see you in the next video.
Sounds like a plan. Works for me.